Chosen one. Pause and breathe. This moment has been written long before you knew it was coming. You are here because you have endured what others could not. Silent battles, hidden tears, doors closed in your face. Yet you refused to bow to despair. You carried the test with dignity, and heaven has now declared you have passed. Think of yourself as an olive pressed under weight. At first, it felt like crushing, but the pressing produced oil anointing, power, endurance. What seemed like the end was actually the unlocking of treasure hidden inside you. Let me bring you the story of another chosen one. He worked in a place where no one applauded. His efforts were unseen. His prayers whispered in the dark. Friends moved on. Opportunities skipped past him. Still, he kept showing up, kept believing, kept trusting. One day, what he thought was endless delay became sudden acceleration. The years of silence were transformed into a platform of influence. His story is proof that waiting is not wasted, and yours is next. The voice of Scripture rises in the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 13. Now I will break their yoke from off you and burst your bonds apart, declares the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel. This is the banner flying over you right now. The test you endured was the weight of the yoke, but heaven has declared the yoke broken. The chains that mocked you, the weight that bent your back, the delay that suffocated your spirit shattered. This is freedom. This is the doorway into reward. Picture a bow being pulled back. The tension is fierce, the stretch uncomfortable, the pressure relentless. But the pull is never meant to destroy the arrow. It is to launch it farther than it could ever go on its own. That has been your test. The stretching was not punishment, it was preparation. And now, release is here. Every sleepless night has been counted. Every time you whispered, Lord, I still trust you, was etched into heaven's book. You passed, not by never stumbling, but by never quitting. And because of that, a crown is waiting. Chosen one. This word must be sealed with response. If you feel the breaking of your yoke even now, let it be known. Share this message with someone carrying their own weight. Subscribe so you remain connected to words that will keep your spirit sharp. And comment the number 111 below, declaring alignment, newness, and freedom. Do not doubt what you feel. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. The test is behind you. The reward is ahead of you. And the God who kept you in the shadows is about to display you in the light. You may still feel the echoes of yesterday's struggle clinging to your mind. That is natural. Tests do not leave us unchanged. But hear this, what lingers now is not the weight of defeat. It is the residue of glory. You carry the fragrance of someone who has walked through the fire and come out untouched by its flames. Imagine walking barefoot across a field after heavy rain. At first, the mud clings to your feet, making each step heavy. Yet with every step forward, the mud dries, the weight falls off, and the ground beneath you grows firm again. That is exactly what is happening in your spirit. Right now, the heaviness is falling away as you move into your reward. Remember how Joseph endured betrayal, slavery, and prison before stepping into the palace. His tests were not punishment, they were pathways. What felt like abandonment was actually alignment. The same hand that lifted Joseph is now lifting you. Your years of hidden faithfulness have not gone unnoticed. This is why you cannot stop here. Your story is still unfolding, and your testimony is about to become the evidence others cling to in their own storms. Do not shrink back. Lift your head. Walk forward. You have crossed the line. Now, pause and let gratitude rise. Whisper a prayer of thanks for the strength you did not know you had. Thank Him for every closed door that protected you, for every trial that trained you, for every tear that watered the soil of your destiny. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the next gate. Chosen one. Let this final truth anchor you tonight. The test has been completed. Heaven's verdict has been written. You are stepping into freedom, into visibility, into inheritance. The yoke has been shattered. The bonds have fallen. The season of reward begins now. You may not realize it, but heaven has been watching you more closely than you have ever imagined. Every silent prayer, every choice to forgive, every act of kindness you sowed in secret has been observed by the one who sees all. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was overlooked. While others dismissed you, heaven was writing your story line by line. Think about the nights when you sat alone, wondering if your pain had any meaning. You were not crying into emptiness. Your tears were collected like precious jewels. Every sigh of your heart became incense rising before the throne. What you considered weakness was, in truth, worship. God was watching, not just what you endured, but how you endured it with faith, with resilience, with hope that refused to die. Imagine a potter working at his wheel. He does not discard the clay just because it collapses. Instead, he patiently shapes it again, his hands pressing gently, removing what is unneeded, reforming what was bent. That is what heaven has been doing with you. Your breaking did not disqualify you. It invited the hands of the Master closer. He has shaped you into a vessel that can now hold what was always meant for you. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. The Lord is our strength. He turns sorrow into dancing and mourning into joy. This is the essence of your journey. The long nights of hidden tears were not endless. They were the setup for the dawn. Heaven watched as you endured the night, and heaven has decided your morning is here. The scriptures remind us that David, before becoming king, was an unnoticed shepherd in the fields, alone. He learned to protect sheep from lions and bears, alone. He worshipped under the open sky. Those lonely nights were not punishment. They were training for his crown. Like David, your hidden years have prepared you for the moment where your story will shift from obscurity to testimony. There is a depth inside you now that was not there before. Trials have carved out capacity. Where once you could only carry small burdens, now you can carry nations in your prayers. Where once you trembled under rejection, now you stand unshaken. The growth is not always visible from the outside, but inside, heaven sees the expansion of your spirit. Consider the imagery of a tree in winter. To the eye, it seems lifeless. Branches bare, skigray, ground frozen. Yet beneath the soil, roots are digging deeper, drawing water, anchoring stronger. The hidden work is often the most vital work. When the season shifts, that tree will not just blossom, it will thrive, because its unseen roots were prepared. You, too, are that tree. Heaven knows how deep your roots now go, and because of that, recognition is not only coming, it is necessary. Heaven cannot let faith like yours go unrewarded. Your name has been spoken in the courts above. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf. Provision, favor, and alignment are gathering like clouds before rain. You will see it. Not because of luck, not because of coincidence, but because heaven has decreed it. Your test was not proof of abandonment, but evidence of trust. God trusted you with pain, because he knew you would not let go of him. That is why the testimony of your life will carry authority. People will listen not just to your words, but to your scars. And they will know, this one has walked with God. Chosen one. Never forget this. You are seen. You are known. You are remembered. Every moment you thought was empty was a chapter heaven recorded. And when your reward unfolds, you will look back and realize nothing was wasted. The silence had a purpose. The delay had meaning. And the one who saw it all will make it known before the world. Do not despise the tears you shed in the valley. They were not signs of weakness, but seeds of power. Every tear became a prayer language heaven understood, even when you had no words left. Now, as the season shifts, the nights of sorrow transform into mornings of laughter. The weight that once pressed you is gone, and in its place is clarity, strength, and fresh vision. What you thought was the end has become the beginning of something greater. Chosen one. Let your heart rest. The God who recorded your pain is the same God who now writes your restoration. The story is not just about what you survived, it is about the joy that is rising in you. Unstoppable and undeniable. The last attack against you was fierce. Darkness saw how close you were to break through and unleashed every arrow it had left. Confusion, delay, betrayal. These were not random events. They were coordinated attempts to push you off your path. Yet, here you are, standing. The fact that you did not collapse is proof that the attack failed. Think of a storm that sweeps across the sea. Waves rise. Winds howl. Lightning splits the sky. For hours it feels like the ship will not survive. But when morning comes, the sea is calm again, and the vessel is still afloat. That ship is you. The storm has passed. And though the waves struck, they could not sink what heaven had chosen to preserve. Scripture says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 16, "For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again." And your rising has been your answer. The enemy saw you stumble and thought you would stay down, but each time you rose, you testified that the power within you is greater than the weight against you. Let me show you the story of another chosen one. He was betrayed by those closest to him, accused unjustly, and cast aside. For a season, it seemed as though darkness had won, but instead of breaking him, the fire refined him. He emerged stronger, more radiant, carrying wisdom he could not have gained any other way. What looked like destruction became the very path to destiny. You carry that same mark. Your scars are not signs of defeat, but emblems of survival. Each wound tells a story of a battle you overcame. The enemy's attempt to silence you has only amplified your voice. Now pause for a prophetic act. Write in the comments, "Unbroken flame." These 2 words matter. They are not casual. They are declaration. You are the fire that trials could not smother. You are the living proof that even under pressure, the flame of the chosen one burns brighter. When you type it, you agree with heaven's perspective and silence the voice of every lie that said you were finished. Consider the image of a diamond under pressure, for thousands of years, buried beneath the earth. It endure unimaginable weight. Yet the pressure does not destroy it, transforms. In the same way, the pressure you endured has crystallized your faith. You shine brighter now because of the very weight that tried to crush you. Chosen one, lift your eyes. The season of assault has ended. The roar of the enemy has faded. What remains is the echo of your victory. You did not fall to the trap. You did not lose your light. You are still here, stronger than before, carrying a testimony that no darkness can erase. The fact that you are still standing carries more power than you realize. Survival is not weakness, it is triumph. Many who faced the same storm lost their way, but you endured. That endurance itself is a testimony that God's hand has been upon you from the beginning. Every scar tells a story. Scars are not signs of defeat. They are evidence of healing. They declare that something once tried to destroy you, but failed. When others see your scars, they will see a living sermon that God can bring beauty out of brokenness. Your resilience has become a weapon. The enemy hates persistence because persistence proves faith. Every time you got up again, you reminded darkness that its power is temporary. This is why heaven honors those who do not quit. Rising after a fall is a greater victory than never falling at all. Think of the phoenix rising from ashes. Fire consumed what was old, but from the very ashes, new wings were formed. That is your story. The fire of trial burned away what could not last, leaving only what was unshakable. Now you soar, not despite the fire, but because of it. Do not underestimate the impact of your endurance. Others are watching silently. They have seen your struggle, and they are about to see your rise. Your life will become their hope, your resilience, their proof that God is still faithful. This is why your survival matters. It multiplies into the lives of others. Chosen one, hold this truth tightly. The attack that tried to break you has only revealed the strength within you. What was designed as your ending has become your awakening. You are not merely a survivor, you are a warrior, carrying light no darkness can extinguish. The storm has passed, but your flame remains untouched, unbroken, unstoppable. The crown is not just a symbol of authority, it is the visible sign that the season of testing has reached its conclusion. When kings in ancient times were crowned, it was not a casual act. It was a declaration to heaven and earth that authority had shifted, that a new era had begun. That is what is happening in your life now. You are stepping into the unveiling of your divine inheritance, and nothing can reverse it. Think of Esther, a young woman hidden in obscurity, brought suddenly into the palace for a purpose she did not yet understand. She endured preparation, long seasons of waiting and cleansing, until one day the crown was set upon her head. That crown was not just jewelry, it was destiny fulfilled. She became the vessel through which God preserved her people. In the same way, the crown awaiting you is not ornamental, it is functional. It equips you for the assignment only you can fulfill. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 25, they do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we, for an imperishable crown. This crown is eternal. It is not subject to the fading applause of men. It carries the weight of heaven's recognition, and its brilliance cannot be dimmed by opposition. Picture a runner crossing the finish line after years of training. The sweat, the blisters, the exhaustion, all of it fades when the victor's crown is placed upon their head. That moment does not erase the struggle, but redeems it. The same is true for you. Every hardship that pressed against you is now reframed as preparation for your coronation. There is also a shift happening inside of you. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to survive the wilderness. You begin to recognize the authority you carry. The way you speak changes. The way you walk changes. Even the way you view obstacles changes. Because the crown is not just an external honor, it is an internal transformation. Consider the image of a soldier who has survived countless battles. When the Medal of Honor is finally pinned to his chest, it is not the metal that changes him, it is the recognition of what he already carries. The medal simply reveals what the war had already proven. That is your reality. The trials you endured were not random suffering. They were the battles that forged your authority. Do not imagine this crown as something distant. It is not waiting in some far-off age. It is already being placed upon your life in subtle, powerful ways. The opportunities you begin to see, the honor that quietly comes your way, the favor that starts to open doors, these are all reflections of the crown. Heaven has already shifted your season, and earth will soon follow. The inheritance you carry is more than material. It is wisdom sharpened by pain, compassion born from rejection, resilience tested by storms. These are treasures that no thief can steal and no fire can burn away. They are the currency of heaven, and you now carry them in abundance. Do not be surprised when others begin to recognize what you carry. They may not have seen your nights of wrestling, but they will see the glory upon you now, and though they may not fully understand it, they will be drawn to the authority radiating from your life. This is not pride, it is the overflow of the crown. Remember, the crown is both a gift and a responsibility. It is given freely by grace, yet it calls you to walk in greater accountability. Authority is never for self-exaltation, it is for service, for lifting others, for guiding those still wandering in their wilderness. The crown affirms who you are, but also reminds you of who you are called to serve. Chosen one. The waiting is over. The refining has done its work. The wilderness has fulfilled its purpose. The crown awaits, and it fits you perfectly. What once felt like endless delay now reveals itself as preparation for this moment. The honor of heaven is resting on you, and the reward of endurance is being revealed. Step into this reality with confidence. Do not shrink back as if you are unworthy. The very trials you overcame have qualified you for the crown you now carry. Heaven has measured you, refined you, and found you ready for the inheritance prepared long ago. Let this truth strengthen your steps. The crown is not a distant dream, but a present reality. You are walking now as one marked by glory, one chosen to radiate light in a world that desperately needs hope. Wear it with humility, but also with courage. Your journey has shifted. You are no longer walking in the shadows of survival. You are stepping into a story that the world will see and remember. This is the turning point where your testimony becomes light for others. You are not simply coming out of trials, you are rising into glory. Think of the butterfly. For so long, it struggled in the cocoon, hidden away from sight. The pressure, the darkness, the squeezing it looked like confinement, yet inside, transformation was unfolding, and when the shell broke open, wings stretched wide and beauty emerged. That is what is happening in your life. The season of breaking has given way to the season of flight. Your story is no longer just about endurance, it is about beauty revealed. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. This verse carries your reflection. Your crown is not only a promise for eternity, but also a sign here and now that God is faithful to reward those who hold steady. And now, chosen one, the time has come for your voice and your story to reach further. When your testimony is shared, it breaks chains for others. Just as someone else's words once gave you hope, your journey will now give hope to many. This is why platforms like this exist, so the voice of the chosen ones can be heard across borders, across languages, across generations. Here I pause with a sincere heart. If this message has touched you, consider supporting it. Not because you are pressured, not because it is demanded, but because you sense the value of letting light spread. Every like is like a heartbeat echoing into the world, signaling that hope is still alive. Every share is the spark of a lamp lit in someone's darkened room, and every subscribe is a milestone placed along your journey, a reminder that you will never lose sight of the light again. And if you feel led to give, know this truth. A donation is like dropping a single stone into a still lake. You may not see the farthest ripples, but they will reach unseen shores, touching lives you may never meet. Support is never about buying a blessing, it is about fueling the mission, extending the reach of hope to hearts on the edge of giving up. Think of it also as planting seeds. When you sow into soil like this, you are not losing, you are multiplying. Your seed grows into fruit that nourishes someone else, someone waiting in silence for the very word that will save their life. At the same time, know this clearly: you are free. Support is never a condition for receiving what heaven wants you to hear. Whether you give or not, you are chosen. You are loved. And the word of God over your life remains unshaken. The invitation is simply here for those who feel stirred to partner in this mission. Imagine this: every act of support, whether you like, share, subscribe, or donate, is as if you are placing another stone into a great lighthouse. Stone by stone, it rises higher, and from that height, beams of hope cut through the night, guiding those who are lost back to safe shores. That is the collective work we are building. Chosen one, you are part of something bigger than yourself. The shift in your story is not only for your own breakthrough, it is for the testimonies that will multiply through you. Others will find courage when they hear what you survived. They will find faith when they see how you shine. And through your partnership, whether in presence, prayer, or generosity, the reach of this message will stretch beyond what either of us could imagine. So walk into this new chapter with assurance. You are not carrying survival anymore, you are carrying glory. The world will see it. The heavens rejoice over it. And your crown will shine brighter with every step forward. Every moment of your journey has been leading to this unveiling. The weight of yesterday has fallen, and now the fragrance of glory rises from your life. What once seemed like endless nights of testing now stand as evidence of your endurance. And heaven responds by clothing you with honor. Walk boldly, for this is not the season to hide. You are crowned. You are shining. And your light is a torch for those still stumbling in the dark. The more you step forward, the more your story will awaken faith in those who thought hope was lost. The exchange has begun. The old garments of sorrow, the heavy cloak of disappointment, the ashes of yesterday, heaven is removing them from your shoulders. In their place comes beauty, joy, and fresh strength. What once defined you no longer has power to hold you. You are stepping into a divine exchange where mourning turns into dancing and heaviness gives way to freedom. Think about the potter's wheel once more. The clay is crushed and pressed, not to be discarded, but to be reshaped into something more beautiful. That is what your pain has been, God's hands reshaping what others thought was ruined. What you thought was loss has been turned into the very material heaven uses for glory. The prophet Isaiah proclaimed in chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. This is your reality. The exchange is happening right now. Heaven is trading your ashes for beauty, your mourning for joy, your despair for songs of praise. Let me share a story. A woman walked through years of loss. Each time she thought she had found stability, something crumbled. At one point, all she had left were ashes, her dreams reduced, her confidence shaken, her spirit weary. But she chose to keep trusting. Slowly, doors she never imagined opened, opportunities came, relationships healed, and laughter returned to her house. What she thought was final became fertile ground for restoration. Her story reflects yours. The ashes do not end the story, they prepare the soil for beauty. Imagine yourself standing at a crossroads. In one hand, you hold ashes, remnants of things gone, dreams broken, seasons that ended. In the other hand, heaven offers beauty, joy, and renewal. You cannot cling to both. To step into your new season, you must release what no longer serves you. The ashes do not define you. They are being replaced with treasures you could not have earned any other way. See yourself like a phoenix, rising from the ashes of what once was. Fire consumed the old, but it could not consume you. Out of the embers, your wings are spreading, and you rise higher than before. That is the divine exchange. You are not left in ruins, you are reborn into glory. Chosen one, this is the moment to respond. Write in the comments, 222. Why? Because 222 carries the message of divine alignment, restoration, and balance. When you type it, you are not just writing numbers, you are declaring, I release my ashes, and I embrace my beauty. I step into my new season of joy. It is a prophetic act, sealing the exchange in your own life. Every act of trust is an exchange. When you forgive, you trade bitterness for peace. When you surrender fear, you receive courage. When you release control, you gain divine guidance. Your entire journey has been built on these moments of exchange, and now you are entering the fullness of it. Even your scars are part of the transformation. A scar means healing has taken place. It is no longer an open wound. It is a mark of survival. Heaven takes your scars and turns them into testimony. What once was pain becomes a story of power. That, too, is part of the exchange. Remember the farmer's field after fire has swept through. To the eye, it looks barren, destroyed, but in truth, the fire has cleared the land, enriched the soil, and prepared it for a harvest far greater than before. Your trials have been that fire. They did not consume you, they prepared you for fruitfulness. Chosen one. You are walking lighter now. The ashes are gone. The mourning lifted. The despair broken. What rests on you now is joy, beauty, and strength that cannot be stolen. This is the exchange you waited for, and it is not temporary. It is the beginning of a season where everything lost is restored in ways beyond your imagination. When you write 222, you are declaring balance over chaos. The number itself is a picture of alignment, each digit standing side by side, equal, steady, unshaken. It speaks of promises being fulfilled, relationships being restored, and the foundation of your life being set in order by the hand of God. For you, 222 is more than numbers. It is a prophetic banner. It means the cracks in your story are being sealed. The scattered pieces are being gathered, and stability is being established. By typing it, you are saying, I step into balance. I embrace restoration. I walk in divine order. And the tables are turning. What was once used against you is now being overturned in your favor. The very situations that seemed designed to break you are being rewritten into platforms that will lift you higher. Those who once dismissed you will see with their own eyes the shift that heaven has decreed. Think of Joseph again, the young dreamer thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold as a slave, falsely accused, imprisoned. Every chapter looked like the end. Yet in one moment, the tables turned. The very pit that sought to bury him became the stepping stone to the palace. His brothers, who once mocked him, bowed before him, not because Joseph sought revenge, but because God had elevated him openly. This is the rhythm of heaven. It takes the mockery, the rejection, the false accusations, and turns them into living proof that no weapon formed against the chosen can prosper. What others meant for harm is repurposed for good. The same pattern is weaving through your life. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. End quote. Notice the words in all things. Not some, not a few, but every detail, even the painful ones, even the unfair ones. Nothing escapes his weaving hands. Picture a master weaver at his loom. From the underside, the threads look tangled, chaotic, without form. But from above, a stunning tapestry emerges. That is your story. From where you stood, it looked like disorder. But from heaven's view, the design was flawless. And now the picture is beginning to reveal itself. The tables turn not only in circumstances, but in perception. Where once you were underestimated, now you are recognized. Where once you were spoken against, now your voice carries weight. Those who ridiculed you will be unable to deny the evidence of God's hand upon your life. Do not imagine this as vindication driven by pride. It is not about standing over others. It is about God displaying his justice. When the tables turn, it is a witness to the world that faithfulness is never forgotten. Those who watched your struggle will also watch your rise, and in that, they will glimpse the reality of God. Think also of Hannah, who wept bitterly because her womb was closed, while others mocked her. Year after year she prayed, misunderstood and ridiculed. Yet when the tables turned, the same woman who was scorned became the mother of a prophet. Her story teaches us that delay is not denial. It is divine setup for greater glory. Your waiting seasons have been the soil in which this turnaround grows. Every hidden act of faith, every tear, every quiet yes to God has been seed, and now the harvest is breaking the surface. The tables are turning not by human effort, but by divine intervention. See yourself as a chessboard. For a long time, it seemed like every move was against you. Pieces were lost. Strategies collapsed, and defeat looked certain. But the master player never lost control. At the perfect moment, he moves one piece and the entire game changes. That is what the turning of the tables feels like. It is sudden, decisive, undeniable. When people see the change, they may wonder how it happened so quickly. They will not understand the years of preparation hidden beneath the surface, but you will know. You will remember the nights of prayer, the tears, the endurance, and because you know, you will wear this new season with humility, not arrogance. This turning also comes with responsibility. To sit at a table prepared for you is not only about being honored, it is about being equipped to serve others. Your elevation is not for self-display, but for kingdom purpose. You are called to lift those who remain in the shadows, to guide those still wandering in the wilderness. Chosen one, take courage in this truth. The tables are turning in your favor. The voices that once rose against you are being silenced. The situations that once held you down are becoming testimonies of your resilience. The very ashes that covered you are now being swept away to reveal the beauty heaven always intended. The shift is already in motion. You may not see every detail yet, but the alignment has begun. Trust the process, for what is hidden today will soon be revealed in plain sight. The tables are turning, and when they do, you will know, without question, it was the hand of God. Provision is being released over your life. The dry ground you once walked on is softening under fresh rain. The season where lack and scarcity seem to define you is ending, and abundance is beginning to flow. This is not a shallow promise of material gain. It is the deep reality of heaven, responding to years of trust and endurance. Think of the Israelites in the wilderness. For 40 years, they lacked nothing. Their clothes did not wear out, and manna descended daily. It was not wealth in the world's eyes, but it was perfect provision. Then, when they entered the promised land, the manna ceased because they were now eating from the fullness of the land. Both seasons were provision, different in form, but the same in faithfulness. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Haggai in chapter 2, verse 9. The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, says the Lord Almighty, and in this place I will grant peace. And provision is not just about resources, it is about peace, the kind of abundance that quiets the heart and steadies the mind. You are entering into that kind of release. Picture a river in drought. For months, only stones are visible. Cracked earth where water once ran. Then the rains come, slowly at first. Then suddenly, The river swells, and what was barren comes alive again. That is your life in this moment. Where there was dryness, heaven is sending flow. The river of provision is not trickling, it is rising. There is also a shift in the way you see provision. Lack taught you to value small blessings, to see miracles in the ordinary. That perspective is part of your inheritance. When abundance arrives, you will not squander it because you know the worth of every drop. The humility forged in scarcity becomes wisdom in plenty. Consider Elijah and the widow of Zarephath. She had only a handful of flour and a little oil. From her view, it was not enough. Yet when she released it into God's hands, it multiplied to sustain her household through famine. That is the mystery of divine provision. It begins where human resources end. What you thought was insufficient becomes more than enough when heaven breathes upon it. The release of provision also carries restoration. There are things you lost in past seasons, opportunities missed, relationships broken, resources drained. Heaven does not only add new blessings, it restores what was lost. Like Job, who after his testing received double. Your life is being measured not by loss but by restoration. Imagine a storehouse long locked, dust gathered on its door. For years you stood outside, wondering if it would ever open. Now the key is turning, the lock is breaking, and the storehouse doors are swinging wide. Inside are not random gifts, but the very provisions assigned to your destiny. Every delay was part of timing, so that what you receive now matches the maturity you carry. Provision also comes in unexpected forms. Sometimes it arrives as people, destiny helpers, positioned to support you. Sometimes it arrives as opportunities, doors you could never have forced open yourself. And often it arrives as wisdom strategies that turn little into much. Do not limit your expectation to one form. Heaven's creativity is endless, and provision can appear where you least expect it. Think again of the image of rain. When clouds break and rain falls, it does not only water one field, it spreads, soaking valleys, hills, and plains alike. The release coming over your life will not only bless you, but will spill over into others. Those connected to you will also taste the overflow. That is how divine provision works. It multiplies. Chosen one. You will see doors open where before there were only walls. You will see debts lifted, needs met. And more than that, you will see peace return to your heart. The striving ends because the source is no longer your effort. It is heaven's supply. You are stepping into a season marked not by lack, but by flow. This flow is not temporary. It is not a short burst that fades with time. It is a steady stream, designed to carry you through this next chapter with strength. The God who sustained you in famine is the same God who now overflows your cup. Let your heart rest in this truth. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. Every dry season has prepared you to treasure this rain. Now the release of provision is here, and it comes not only to sustain you, but to establish you in peace. The plans of the enemy have been exposed, the snares that were set in secret, the words whispered in the dark, the plots designed to pull you down. All of them are unraveling before your eyes. For a time, it looked as though those traps might succeed, but the covering hand of God has made them powerless. Think of Daniel, faithful and blameless, yet cast into the lion's den because of jealousy and lies. The plotters thought the end had come, But heaven shut the mouths of the lions, and when morning broke, Daniel was alive, untouched. The same lions that were meant to devour him became silent witnesses to God's protection. That is the same covering over your life now. According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 15, "But their swords will pierce their own hearts, and their bows will be broken, declares the Lord Most High, the God of justice." This is the fate of every hidden weapon raised against you. What was designed to cut you down will turn back on itself. Imagine a net spread on the ground, carefully hidden with leaves, waiting for an unsuspecting step. Yet when you arrive, your steps are guided elsewhere, and the ones who laid the net stumble into it themselves. That is what heaven has been orchestrating, divine redirection. You have been kept safe, not only by strength, but by guidance. There was a season when gossip swirled around you, when false words tried to stain your name. You may have felt powerless to defend yourself. But truth has a way of rising. Lies exhaust themselves. They cannot endure. The time has come where the fog clears, and your integrity shines through unshaken. The exposure of your enemies is not about vengeance, it is about justice. It is God making clear that His hand has been with you. When their schemes collapse, it becomes visible proof that you were chosen, preserved, and carried by something greater than yourself. Now pause and seal this moment. Write in the comments, "No more traps." These 3 words are not casual. They are declaration. You are proclaiming that hidden snares are broken, that you walk in freedom, that the ground beneath your feet is steady. When you type it, you are aligning your life with heaven's decree of protection. Consider the spider's web, glittering in the morning dew. It looks delicate, beautiful even, but to the insect caught within, it is prison. Yet when the wind blows, the entire web tears apart. That wind is moving through your life. The webs are breaking, the snares are failing, and your steps are free. Do not fear what people plan in the dark. Shadows cannot overcome the light, and as your light grows stronger, every hidden plan will be revealed and destroyed. You will walk forward with clarity, and nothing laid in secret will succeed against you. Chosen one, lift your head. You are not walking into danger blind. The one who sees all has already cleared the way. The traps have been uncovered, the plans exposed, and the enemy stands powerless. What lies ahead is not destruction, but deliverance. There will always be those who underestimate the covering of God. They assume their plans are clever enough, hidden enough, silent enough to succeed. But Scripture reminds us that nothing is hidden from His sight. What was whispered in dark corners is shouted in the light when His timing arrives. This means you do not need to exhaust yourself trying to fight every rumor, defend every lie, or chase down every shadow. When the trap is exposed, the truth stands on its own. The collapse of the enemy's plans becomes louder than any defense you could give. Think of Joseph's brothers again. They planned to erase his dream by selling him into slavery. Yet their very betrayal became the road that led him to Pharaoh's palace. This is the mystery of divine reversal. The schemes against you are repurposed as tools to elevate you. Your responsibility is to keep walking forward. Do not let fear of what others may plan distract you. Stay rooted. Stay faithful. To stay steady. The more you focus on your path, the clearer it becomes that no scheme has the power to stop you. Chosen one. This is your assurance. The season of hidden snares is over. The ground is clear. The way is open. And your steps are guarded. Walk boldly, for every plan of the enemy is already defeated, and your future is not in their hands, but in the hands of God. Authority is settling on you now. For a long time, you walked as a servant, faithful, unseen, carrying loads heavier than most would imagine. But now, the mantle of ruler is being draped across your shoulders. This is not human power, it is divine authority, given not to dominate, but to lead, to lift, and to guide. Authority means you can speak where once you were silent. It means your words carry weight, not because of volume, but because of heaven's backing, like Joshua standing before the people of Israel. You are called not only to cross into promise, but to bring others with you. The authority resting on you is for impact, not just identity. We find in the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 35, "So do not throw away your confidence, it will be richly rewarded. For the Lord is faithful, and his promise endures." Confidence is the evidence of authority. It is the mark that you understand who has called you and why you are here. Picture a lighthouse standing on the edge of the sea. Storms crash. Waves roar. Winds scream. But the lighthouse does not move. Instead, it shines its beam to guide others to safety. That is what authority looks like in your life now. You are no longer tossed by the waves. You are the steady light others follow. This is where your journey connects to something greater. When messages like this reach you, they remind you of who you are. But there are many others still wandering, still unsure, still feeling crushed under the weight of their battles. Extending this light further is part of your own calling, and you can help make that possible. So, I speak this with gentleness and sincerity. If these words have strengthened you, consider supporting them. Every act of support, whether simple or significant, is like adding fuel to a fire. The flame is already burning, but with your oil, it burns brighter, longer, reaching farther. When you press like, it is as though you're striking a match, sparking the flame higher. When you share, it is like carrying a torch into another person's night, giving them light they did not know they needed. When you subscribe, it is like planting a flag on your path, declaring, "This is the direction I will keep walking on." And for those who feel led to go further, donating is like pouring water into a river that flows far beyond your sight. You may not see every life it touches, but you can trust that the current carries hope into places your hands may never reach. It is not a demand, not a requirement, but a beautiful choice, an act of partnership with heaven's work. Remember the widow's oil in the days of Elisha. It seemed too small to matter, just a few drops left in her jar. Yet when it was placed in the prophet's hands, it multiplied until every vessel was filled. That is what your generosity does. It multiplies beyond what you imagine, filling vessels you may never see. At the same time, let this be clear: your worth is not measured by giving. You are already chosen, already crowned, already loved. Support is never a condition. It is simply an invitation for those who sense the stirring to join in something bigger. Whether or not you give, the word of God over your life remains the same: steady, unshaken, eternal. But imagine the impact if you did respond. Think of a great choir. Each voice alone is fragile, but together they form a sound that moves the soul. Every like, every share, every gift is a voice joining the song. And the louder the song, the farther the message travels. Chosen one. Your authority is not for isolation, it is for expansion. The mantle you carry now is meant to draw others out of darkness and into the light. And through your presence here, through your choices to engage, through your willingness to partner, the sound of hope grows stronger. So, step into this new authority boldly, speak with confidence, shine with clarity, lead with love, and know that you are not alone in this. Heaven walks with you, and a community rises with you. Together, the light will reach farther than we could ever dream. Authority is never about crowns made of gold, but about the quiet power to lift others higher. Every word you speak now carries the fragrance of survival. Every step echoes with the weight of endurance. You have authority because you endured what others could not. And heaven has entrusted you with influence born from fire. Carry this mantle with humility. Let your authority be like rain on thirsty ground. Gentle, yet life-giving. Strong, yet tender. Wherever you walk, let others find courage in your presence. This is the reward of those who rise. Their lives become shelter. Their words become bridges. Their stories become light. Your name is being carried higher. What was once whispered in the shadows is beginning to echo in open places. The season of silence, when your efforts seemed unnoticed and your voice unheard, is giving way to visibility. This is not about fame or empty applause. It is about God lifting your name into alignment with your assignment. There were moments when you felt invisible, as though all your labor vanished into the wind. You gave faithfully, prayed persistently, loved generously, yet few seemed to acknowledge it. But heaven saw, and when heaven decides to raise a name, no earthly hand can suppress it. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." End of. This is what is happening with your name. It is being set on a hill. Light cannot remain buried, and your testimony cannot remain concealed. Think of Mordecai in the book of Esther. He uncovered a plot to kill the king, but his deed went unrewarded for years. Then, in one decisive night, the king could not sleep. Records were opened. Mordecai's name was read, and honor was given publicly. That delay was not neglect, it was divine timing. In the same way, your name is written in records you cannot see, and the moment of remembrance has come. When your name is lifted, it will not be because of your striving, but because of divine orchestration. God himself writes the narrative, weaving together moments of obscurity and recognition until the unveiling makes sense. You are stepping into that unveiling now. Picture a bird once kept in a cage. Its song was heard only within the narrow bars that confined it. But when the cage door opens, its voice soars into the skies, reaching ears it never imagined. That is the journey of your name. It is no longer contained, it is being released to fly farther than you dreamed. The lifting of your name also comes with weight. Visibility is not light, it carries responsibility. As your influence grows, so does the call to live with integrity, compassion, and humility. The crown you wear demands a posture of service. It is not about being elevated above others, but about being positioned to carry more. Do not be surprised when people begin to speak differently about you. Some will honor what they once dismissed. Others may struggle to understand the shift. But your task is not to manage their perception. It is to walk faithfully in what God has ordained. Let your life itself be the testimony that explains the change. Remember also that your name carries legacy. It is not only about this moment, but about the generations that follow. When God lifts a name, He engraves it into history, so that the impact stretches beyond a single lifetime. Think of Abraham, Moses, David. Their names endure because their lives were vessels of God's plan. Your name, too, is being etched into a story larger than your own. Imagine your name as a lamp being lifted onto a stand. In the dark, it illuminates paths for others. It shines not for itself, but for those walking in shadows. This is what it means for your name to rise. It becomes a beacon, a testimony, a reminder that God still raises the humble and crowns the faithful. Chosen one. Do not shrink back. Do not question whether you are worthy. The lifting of your name is not about worthiness earned, but about purpose ordained. The same God who kept you in the quiet is now positioning you in the open. Your responsibility is simple. Remain faithful. Remain humble. Remain steadfast. The whispers are becoming shouts. The hidden is becoming visible. And your name is being carried higher, not by human promotion, but by divine hand. And when heaven lifts, no one can pull down. When your name rises, it is not an accident. It is the unfolding of a script heaven wrote long ago. Every silent prayer, every hidden act of faith, every unseen sacrifice becomes part of the testimony that now speaks louder than your own voice. Do not fear the spotlight, for it is not meant to expose you. It is meant to reveal God's work in you. The light shines not to magnify your flaws, but to magnify His faithfulness. Your story is the canvas, but His glory is the paint. So walk boldly in this season. Carry your name like a banner, not of pride, but of purpose. The rise is not yours alone. It is heaven's declaration that the chosen ones will not remain hidden forever. The sealing of destiny has begun. You have walked through fire and flood, and now heaven places its mark upon you. This is not a temporary blessing that can fade with seasons. It is a permanent seal, declaring that no power, no position, and no voice can revoke what God has ordained over your life. In ancient times, a seal represented authority. Kings sealed decrees with wax and a signet ring, meaning their words could not be altered. That same imagery rests on your life now. God's own hand presses His mark into your destiny, making it unchangeable, undeniable, unstoppable. We are reminded through the writings of Paul in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13. When you believed, you were marked in Him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit. Now, this is not just comfort, it is confirmation. The Spirit Himself is the evidence that your destiny is protected. Think of a letter carefully written and then sealed. Once sealed, it cannot be tampered with without being exposed. Your life is that letter, written by God, sealed by His Spirit, and carried by His angels. It will reach the destination He designed, even when storms rage. The seal remains unbroken. Consider also the story of Noah. When the flood came, The ark was shut by the hand of God himself. That shutting was a seal. No wave could break it. No storm could undo it. In the same way, heaven has shut the door behind you and sealed your future ahead of you. You are preserved for the assignment you were born to fulfill. The seal of destiny also means that what was once fragile in you is now fortified. Doubt once whispered that you might miss your calling. Fear once told you that others could take your place. But the seal silences those lies. What God has reserved for you cannot be stolen. What He has written over your life cannot be erased. Imagine a tree that has grown through seasons of drought and storm. Its bark now bears scars, but each scar has become a seal of resilience. No matter how winds blow, that tree stands firm because it has been rooted deeply. That is what the seal of destiny feels like. It anchors you in certainty when everything else shakes. This sealing is not only for you, it is also for the generations connected to you. The prayers you pray today echo into tomorrow. The faith you live out becomes a covering for those who come after you. The seal on your life becomes a mark of safety for those in your house. Now, pause for a moment. Let this word settle deeply. Then respond with a prophetic sign. Write in the comments, 555. Why this number? Because 555 speaks of grace multiplied, divine protection, and the sealing of what cannot be undone. When you type it, you declare that your destiny is not open to negotiation. It is sealed by heaven's decree. Do not underestimate the weight of this truth. Many live their whole lives wondering if they are secure, if their calling is real, if their purpose can slip away. But you, chosen one, can walk with assurance. The seal has been set. No accusation can undo it. No failure can disqualify it. No delay can diminish it. Picture wax cooling under the impression of a signet ring. Once hardened, it bears the image forever. Your destiny now bears the image of God's hand. Wherever you go, that imprint remains. People may not understand it, but they will sense it. Darkness may resist it, but it cannot break it. The sealing of destiny is a turning point. You no longer strive to prove yourself. You no longer wonder if you belong. You no longer fear being overlooked. The mark of heaven declares, you are chosen. You are sealed. You are sent. Chosen one. Carry this confidence as you move forward. The journey has shaped you. The trials have refined you. And now, the seal has secured you. Walk boldly. Knowing your destiny is not fragile, it is fortified by the one who called you before time began. The seal means permanence. Just as no one can unmark the wax once the king's ring has pressed into it, no one can undo what God has imprinted on your life. The moments you doubted, the seasons you feared losing everything, those have been silenced by this eternal confirmation. To live sealed is to live unshaken. You walk with assurance that every step is guided, every detour redeemed, every battle already counted toward victory. The seal does not prevent storms, but it guarantees survival. It is God's way of saying, this one belongs to me, and nothing will change that. Ento. After seasons of striving and storms, a new gift descends upon you. Rest. This is not the shallow rest of mere sleep or a pause in activity. It is the deep rest that settles into your soul when the battle has been won. For years, you lived as though every day was a war. Your spirit always braced. Your heart always guarded. Now, peace comes like rain after drought. soaking into the soil of your being and restoring life where exhaustion once reigned. Rest is not idleness, it is restoration. It is God Himself breathing strength back into weary bones. The Word of God declares in the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This invitation has always been there, but now you experience it with fresh reality. The burdens you carried have been lifted, and your soul finds a home in His presence. Picture a battlefield after the clash is over. Smoke clears, silence stretches, and weary soldiers lay down their weapons. The ground that once shook with violence now becomes a place of healing. That is your life. In this moment, the war is no longer raging, and you are being allowed to breathe, to heal, to be whole again. Rest also carries restoration of identity. In the noise of warfare, you sometimes forgot who you were. The battle shouted lies that you were weak, forgotten, forsaken. But in rest, the truth rises clearly. You are chosen, cherished, secured. The stillness allows the voice of God to be louder than the echo of fear. Imagine a harp string pulled too tight. If stretched without pause, it would snap. But when released and tuned gently, it produces melodies again. Your soul is that string. For too long, it was wound tight with tension. Now, the master musician has loosened it, tuned it, and allowed it to sing once more. Rest is not waste, it is the return of your song. This rest is not only personal, but generational. Your peace will spill over to those connected to you, just as storms ripple outward. So too does calm. When you step into rest, your words soften, your heart opens, and those near you find shelter. The restoration of your soul becomes a covering for others. Think also of Elijah after Mount Carmel. After fire fell and the prophets of Baal were defeated, Elijah collapsed in weariness. Yet God did not scold him. Instead, He sent an angel with bread and water, saying, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." That is the tenderness of God in your rest. He does not only demand, He nourishes. Restores. The rest you receive now is preparation for the journey ahead. Do not think of it as an ending, but as a reset. Just as fields must lie fallow to regain strength, so too must your soul breathe freely to carry the next harvest. This is why God insists on rest. It is His way of ensuring longevity in your purpose. Rest also breaks the illusion of striving. In the wilderness, you may have thought that survival depended solely on your effort. Rest reveals the truth. It was God all along who sustained you. The gift of peace teaches you that His presence is your refuge, and His provision is your anchor. Picture a child asleep in their parents' arms. They do not worry about tomorrow, food, or denya. They simply rest, confident that they are held. That is the invitation now extended to you, to rest not because the world is safe, but because the one holding you is faithful, chosen one. Step fully into this peace. Lay down the armor, not to abandon vigilance, but to embrace healing. The season of constant battle has ended, and the time of restoration has come. Rest deeply, for the God who kept you in the fight is the same God who now surrounds you with stillness. Rest does not mean you lose your edge. It means you sharpen it. In stillness, your vision clears, your spirit realigns, and your strength returns in ways battle could never provide. You are not stepping back in defeat. You are gathering strength for the chapters that demand your fullest self. Let your heart embrace this. Rest is holy. It is God's declaration that you are more than what you fight, more than what you carry. You are His, and He delights in restoring you. In the quiet, your soul heals, your identity anchors, and your future waits with open arms. The mantle of leadership is resting on you now. It is not a garment you put on by choice, nor is it something you purchased with effort. It is bestowed, laid gently yet firmly upon your shoulders by heaven itself. The trials you endured were never only for your sake. They were shaping you into a vessel strong enough to guide others. Leadership in the kingdom is unlike leadership in the world. It is not about titles or thrones. It is about carrying responsibility with humility, lifting others while you walk, and shining light in places others fear to enter. The book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9 declares, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." That is the heartbeat of your mantle, strength rooted not in pride, but in God's presence. Think of Moses, reluctant yet chosen. He never desired the role of deliverer, yet the burning bush set him on a path he could not ignore. His leadership was not perfect. He wrestled with doubts, anger, and weakness, but his calling was sealed. Through him, a nation found freedom. In the same way, your leadership may not look flawless, but it is marked by heaven's fingerprint. The mantle of leadership is heavy because it carries people's destinies. Those still wandering in valleys will look to you for direction. Those weary from battle will lean on your strength. Those confused by lies will need the clarity of your truth. You are not just leading with words, you are leading with the life you lived, the scars you carry, the victories you won. Imagine a shepherd walking ahead of the flock. He does not push from behind, he leads from the front. His voice becomes the compass, and his presence the assurance. That is the picture of your leadership. It is not about forcing, but about guiding. Not about control, but about care. Leadership also requires resilience. Just as a tree stands tall in storms, offering shade in the heat and roots in the soil, so must you stand for others. The branches of your life will become shelter for those who cannot yet weather their own storms. Your steadiness will give them courage to keep moving forward. Consider Deborah, the judge of Israel. At a time when fear silenced many, her voice became the command that stirred courage. She sat beneath the palm tree, guiding the people with wisdom. Leadership does not always roar. It often whispers truth that breaks chains. You carry that same whisper, honed in seasons of waiting, now released to strengthen others. The mantle you wear is also a mirror. People will see themselves in your story. They will find hope in your perseverance, clarity in your testimony, direction in your endurance. This is why the mantle feels weighty, because it carries lives beyond your own. But know this, you were chosen not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. Picture a torch passed in a relay race. Each runner carries it for a time, then hands it forward. You now carry that torch. It is not meant for you to keep hidden, but to pass light along. The race is not yours alone, it is collective, generational. eternal. Do not fear the mantle. Though it feels heavy, it is also empowering. Heaven equips those it calls where you feel weak. Grace supplies strength where you feel unworthy. Mercy affirms your place where you feel uncertain. Wisdom flows like fresh oil. The mantle is not about your ability, it is about God's faithfulness. Chosen one. Leadership is now your assignment. The valleys you walked through gave you compassion. The storms you survived gave you courage. And the waiting taught you patience. You are ready. Not because you planned it, but because heaven prepared you. Wear the mantle with humility. Carry it with honor. And know that through you, others will find their way. Leadership will stretch you, but it will also reveal the depth of what has been placed inside you. Every hardship you endured has become a lesson. Every wound, a testimony. Every victory, a tool. These are not just memories. They are resources you will now use to guide others with wisdom and empathy. And remember this: the mantle is not meant to crush you. It rests on your shoulders because you were built for it. The same God who placed it there also walks beside you, strengthening each step. You are not leading in your own strength. You are leading with heaven's authority. That truth will keep you steady when the road feels heavy. The horizon before you is no longer small. What once felt confined to your circle, your neighborhood, your silent struggles now expands beyond borders. Your influence is awakening, stretching across boundaries, reaching places you may never set foot in with your body, but will touch with your voice, your story, and your light. This is what global impact looks like. It is not about fame, it is about fruitfulness. Think of a seed dropped by the wind. It does not choose where it lands, yet it grows where it falls. Sometimes it takes root in distant soil, producing shade and fruit for people the planter will never meet. That is your story, the seed of your endurance. Your faith, your testimony will take root in hearts far beyond your sight. The ancient words recorded in the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 3 declare, "Many peoples will come and say, 'Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. He will teach us his ways, so we may walk in his paths.'" This is what happens when influence expands. It draws people closer to truth, to light, to the presence of God. Your life becomes the mountain others ascend, not to worship you, but to encounter him. Your journey so far has been personal, intimate, hidden, but the next chapter will be collective. The scars you carry are not just for your healing, they are for the healing of many. The wisdom you gained is not only for your path, it is for those searching for direction. Global impact is not measured by numbers, but by lives changed. Now, let me pause with a heart of sincerity. Messages like this are not accidents, they are bridges. Each word is like a stone placed carefully across a river, allowing weary travelers to cross from despair to hope. But bridges require builders, and light requires fuel. This is where your presence becomes part of the story. When you press like, it is as if you are planting a flag on the mountain, signaling to others that this is a safe place to rest. When you share, it is like sending out doves from an ark, carrying hope to distant lands you will never see. When you subscribe, it is like stepping into a caravan, journeying together so that no one travels alone. And for those who feel led to give, A donation is like pouring fresh water into a river. The river is already flowing, but with your contribution, it runs stronger, wider, reaching villages that thirst in silence. You may never meet the ones who drink from it, but your hand will be part of their survival. And if this word speaks to your spirit, leave a comment below. Write something simple, like planting a stone in the riverbank that says, "I am here." These 3 words are more than letters. They are a marker, not for me, but for you to remember that you are part of this story, standing among those who choose light. Do not see this as obligation, see it as beauty. Giving, sharing, supporting, these are not duties. They are acts of love, quiet yet powerful. They are voluntary, sacred, and eternal. No one is forced to plant a seed, but those who do leave behind forests for generations. Imagine a lantern burning in the night, alone. Its light reaches only a few feet. But when many place their lanterns side by side, a field glows, and travelers far away see the path home. Every like, every share, every donation, every subscription, every comment is another lantern placed on the field, and together they turn darkness into daybreak. Global impact is never the work of one, it is the symphony of many. And you, chosen one, are invited to play your part, whether through your presence, your voice, your support, or your generosity. You are part of a movement larger than yourself. So, let your heart decide freely. Walk into this with joy, not burden. Know that your small action is not small at all. It echoes in eternity. This is the beauty of partnership, that heaven writes stories through us. And we get to choose how wide the echo will be. Chosen one, lift your eyes to the horizon. See how wide it stretches. How far your story will reach. The borders you once thought limited, you are gone. Your light is rising, and the nations will see it. And as you step into this global impact, know this: you are not walking alone. The world walks with you, and heaven leads the way. The joy of reunion is unfolding before you. For so long, you have walked roads that felt solitary, carrying burdens others could not see. At times, you believed destiny was a lonely journey, yet heaven never designed it that way. The path of the chosen often begins in isolation, but it always leads to alignment with those meant to walk beside you. Reunion is not only about meeting people, it is about the divine weaving of lives. Threads that once seemed scattered are being gathered together into a single tapestry. What felt disconnected, what seemed delayed, is now being revealed as purposeful. The people you are about to encounter are not random. They are destiny connections, chosen by God to stand with you in this chapter. The Word of God declares in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verses 9 and 10, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." These verses capture the heart of reunion. You are not meant to carry the weight alone. You are designed to walk in covenant with others, sharing strength and multiplying impact. Think of Ruth and Naomi. Ruth could have turned back, returning to her own people. But she clung to Naomi with a vow, "Where you go, I will go." That bond of loyalty led Ruth into the lineage of kings. Their connection was not convenience, it was destiny. So too, the people, heaven is aligning with you now, are not casual companions. They are keys to your future. Reunion brings healing. For years, you endured the sting of misunderstanding, the ache of rejection, the silence of those who could not see you. But now, as destiny helpers enter your life, they will recognize what others overlooked. They will not compete with your light, they will amplify it. They will not drain your strength, they will add to it. Imagine a symphony. One instrument alone can play a melody, but when others join, harmonies rise, depth is added, and the music becomes breathtaking. That is what reunion does. It turns your solo into a symphony. You are stepping into a season where your sound will be joined by others. And together, the music will move nations. This joy is also about restoration. Some connections thought lost forever may return, renewed and reshaped by time. Others may come brand new, yet feel as though you have known them always. In both cases, you will sense the hand of God knitting hearts together for purpose. Do not fear vulnerability in this season. Isolation taught you strength, but reunion will teach you trust. Allow yourself to open again, to share, to lean. Destiny connections require authenticity, not perfection. You will discover that those sent to walk with you are not deterred by your scars. They are drawn to them because they carry their own. Picture coals in a fire. Alone, one coal cools quickly, but together they keep burning, fueling each other's heat. That is the essence of divine companionship. You will find that when you gather with those God has aligned for you, your flame burns brighter, and your endurance lasts longer. Reunion also expands vision. What you once dreamed alone now multiplies as others bring their gifts, their perspectives, their faith. Where you saw limits, they will see possibilities. Where you carried weariness, they will bring fresh energy. Together, you will accomplish what none of you could achieve separately. Chosen one, your heart has waited for this. The ache of loneliness has not been wasted. It has prepared you to treasure true covenant when it comes. You will not take it lightly. You will recognize the sacredness of companionship designed by heaven. So step into this season with open arms. Expect alignment. Expect connection. Expect réunion. The threads are weaving. The music is rising. The family of destiny is gathering, and in their presence, you will find joy deeper than you imagined, because you will finally see you were never meant to walk alone. This reunion is not coincidence, it is choreography. Every delay, every detour, every seeming setback was heaven arranging the meeting point. The timing is perfect because now you are ready, and so are they. You will notice how naturally the pieces fit together. Where you once carried gaps, others bring supply. Where you once felt unheard, others resonate with your very heartbeat. It will feel less like finding strangers and more like recognizing family you had not yet met. Let your heart rejoice in this. You are being placed in a circle that strengthens, not drains. These are the companions who will walk with you through promise, and together you will see the vision of God fulfilled. The eternal reward is drawing into view. All that you have endured, all the nights of silence, all the days of endurance, every tear, every scar, it was never without meaning, earthly honor and recognition. As beautiful as they may be, are only shadows of what awaits beyond the veil of time. The true crown is not one placed by men, but one given by the hand of the eternal King. The scriptures speak with clarity about this promise. The Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." These words remind you that the battles you fought were not only about today, they were shaping a weight of glory that stretches into eternity. Imagine a traveler who has walked a long, exhausting road. His clothes are worn, his feet bruised, his body weary. Yet, as he reaches the gates of his true home, all the pain fades. The warmth of welcome, the embrace of belonging, the joy of arrival outweigh every hardship. That is the eternal reward. Your crown on earth is real, your influence tangible, your inheritance visible, but the eternal reward surpasses them all. The applause of men will one day grow silent. The treasures of this world will fade, but the glory of God remains forever. It is this reward that gives meaning to your perseverance, courage to your heart, and endurance to your spirit. Think of the thief on the cross beside Jesus. In his final moments, he chose to believe. And the Lord answered with a promise, "Today you will be with me in paradise." That eternal assurance outweighed a lifetime of regret. How much more for you, who have endured with faith, who have chosen obedience in the valley, who have kept your eyes on the unseen. The eternal reward is not simply rest, it is reign. It is sitting with Him in places of glory. It is sharing in His victory. It is becoming fully what you were always meant to be. The fragments of identity you carried on earth come together in wholeness. The partial light you reflected here shines in full brilliance there. Picture a garden blooming in perpetual spring. Flowers never fade. Rivers never dry. Light never dims. Every color more vivid than your eyes could ever capture. Every fragrance richer than breath could hold. That is the language Scripture uses to hint at eternity, not merely survival beyond death, but the flourishing of life in its fullest form. You have lived as a witness here. You will live as a crowned heir there. The journey of faith does not end in the grave. It continues into glory. The God who sealed you here will welcome you there, saying words that outweigh all suffering. "Well done, good and faithful servant." Oh, and though eternity seems distant, its reality touches you even now. Every moment of peace you feel, every glimpse of joy unshaken by circumstance, every whisper of God's presence, they are foretastes of the eternal reward. Heaven breaks into earth to remind you of what awaits. So, walk with this assurance. Your destiny does not end with the closing of earthly chapters. It stretches into forever. Every sacrifice, every prayer, every act of faith becomes treasure, stored where moth and rust cannot destroy. Nothing you have done in obedience is forgotten. Nothing you endured in faith is wasted. Chosen one, lift your gaze beyond the horizon of this world. See the greater horizon that stretches into eternity. Your reward is not fragile. It is everlasting. It is the embrace of the eternal, the crown that does not fade, the glory that cannot be diminished. And it is yours, not because of perfection, but because you endured, because you believed, because you were chosen. The eternal reward is more than a destination. It is communion. It is the unbroken fellowship of walking with the one who guided you through shadows into light. Every unanswered question, Every unseen sacrifice will dissolve in the presence of His glory. What felt heavy here will be weightless there. Let your soul take courage in this. Eternity is not an escape, but a fulfillment. It is the completion of the story that began before you were born. The sealing of every promise spoken over your life. Heaven holds not only crowns, but songs. Not only rest, but purpose. Not only light, but everlasting love. Chosen one, carry this vision with you daily. Let eternity shape how you live in the present. When storms rise, remember the garden of unending spring. When trials weigh heavy, remember the eternal weight of glory. And when you wonder if it was worth it, remember that heaven itself awaits to place a crown on your head and joy unshakable in your heart. You have reached the close of this message, but not the close of your story. Everything you've heard was not to entertain you, but to awaken what already lives inside you. You have walked through fire and flood, and now you stand crowned, sealed, and shining. This is not the end, it is the unfolding of your new beginning. And here, I want to speak to your heart sincerely. Words like these are not built alone. They are carried forward by those who choose to become part of the journey. When you press like, it is as though you drop a pebble into still water. The ripples spread far wider than you imagine. When you share, it is like opening a window in a dark room, letting fresh air and light rush in for someone who thought they were suffocating. When you subscribe, it is like choosing to return to a well that never runs dry, drawing strength each time you come back. And for those who feel a deeper stirring, donating is like placing another brick into a bridge across deep waters. You may never cross it yourself, but countless others will find safe passage because you helped build it. It is not an obligation. It is a beautiful choice, a voluntary act of love that multiplies beyond your sight. Finally, let your voice be part of this chorus. Write a comment below. Even something as simple as, "I choose light." These words are not for me. They are for you, a declaration that you are stepping boldly into the destiny set before you. So, as you leave this moment, remember, your story is not small. Your journey is not wasted. And your light is not meant to remain hidden. Carry it forward. Shine it widely. And let the world be changed because you chose to rise.